hang on. Hi, this is Sierra, Office Manager here at Erbert Lawns, and in this segment we're going to go over what happens at the end of the day when you're done with your work and get back to the shop. Before we get into that, let's look a little bit at how you're going to fill out your route sheet while you're on the job. This is an example route sheet. It's going to have your team name, your partner's name, the day and date. It has all the addresses of all the properties you're going to start at and any notes or special instructions the customers may have asked us for. There's also a section here for you to write any notes you have. This example shows that there was an aggressive dog in the backyard. In this case, you're supposed to call the customer. If they do not answer, leave a message stating your name and what's happening and the company you're with, of course. Then you're supposed to call the office if you do not talk to them. So here it is noted that you left a message for the customer and you talked to Hannah in the office and that you could only mow the front yard. Another example of a note is this customer needs fertilization. Their grass is pretty dry. So in that case, the office can call this customer and recommend that service. This example is of a back gate was locked. Again, you're supposed to call the customer and see if there's any way they can either come home and unlock it or maybe there's just a trick to the gate. In this instance, the crew talked to the customer and the customer said it was okay to do the front yard only this week. In addition to the mow jobs you have, you will also find if there's a service call tech, which just means we need to communicate something to you, or a MOX, which is an overgrown grass charge. You can see in this service call that is connected to Miss Sharon Brown. Last week, the area to the left of the driveway was missed. Please make sure to get this area every week. In the case of a service call tech, it'll usually be highlighted a different color. Keep an eye out though, of course we're not perfect and sometimes forget. In the case of a service call tech, it is important that you knock on the customer's door to see if you can discuss the issue with them and make sure you get it solved for them. Customers never happy if they have to complain about the same thing twice. In this service call tech, you can see that there was a call ahead called Call Ahead Dog Treats and Card. This means last week the customer's gate was left open and the dogs got out. In a case of this, you will have a card and dog treats attached to your route sheet and you need to leave it in an appropriate place and try to knock on the door and apologize to the customer. Even if you weren't the ones who did it last week, it's important that you follow these and make it right whether it was you or not. This next highlighted section is our MOX. It's a first mow extra tall. In this case, the customer has already told the office it is extra grown, so when you see this, which should also be highlighted in a different color, you will see that you are getting a double commission for their property. Just remember, if it's over a foot tall, we are not able to mow that, so make sure you follow the appropriate steps by taking a picture of the lawn and calling Bob. If you run into a property that's extra tall that already doesn't have one of these MOX invoices, the appropriate steps to take would be to take a picture of the lawn with your mower in it so we can see the height, email it to erbertlawns@gmail.com, then call the office to verify we received that. We will then look at the picture and make sure it truly is an extra tall lawn, and then if we deem appropriate, we will give you the double commission for that on your next paycheck. As you're going through your route sheet, it is very important to put the times in which you were at the property. So if you got to the property and started at 8:05 and finished at 8:15, make sure you note that for every house. If you have multiple houses on the same street, write the time for each house, not the amount of time you are on that street. This is important so that way if Mr. Simmons calls to see what time you were there, we can give him an accurate time. The last section of your route sheet has all the important information for the day. Your time in is when you leave the shop in the morning. So that's after you got your gas cards, your keys, your equipment's loaded, and you're putting in the address in the GPS for your first property. That's your time in. The time out is going to be the time you get back to the shop. So this is when you're doing your odometer end. You want to put that time right before you give it to the office member. You always want to have the date there. Your vehicle number is the vehicle that you drove for that day. Odometer start is something you want to fill out first thing in the morning. And odometer end is you fill out as soon as you get back to the shop. Vehicle attention required is if something's going on with your truck. Maybe the seatbelt's not working right or the tail light is out. You want to note that so we can make sure we get it fixed. We want you to be as safe as possible when you're out there driving around. The last spot is for technician. I need everyone on your team's name. If you have 2 people on your team, I need both of your names. And if it's a 3-man, I need all 3 names. Final note, make sure you are initialing every note you have on here. As soon as you read it's a front yard only before you start the property, initial it so we know you saw it. So that's how you fill out a route sheet. If you have any questions, feel free to come to me at any time and I will show you how to add these in. Now that you know how to fill out a route sheet, let's talk about what happens when you're finished for the day and you're pulling back into the shop. The first thing you want to do is take a minute, look at your route sheet, and make sure the whole end section is filled out. You want to have your odometer end and the end time at that moment. Once that is all filled up, you're going to come into the office and bring it to an office girl. So let's go over it with her. Good afternoon, Ashley.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. So Ashley is going to be the one who's taking all your gas cards, GPS, and route sheets every day. If Ashley is unavailable, you can talk to any of us here in the office. The important thing is to give Ashley your route sheet minus your clipboard and have her look at it over. She's going to ask you about any notes you may have written. She's going to make sure all the information's filled out. So you're just going to sit here for a couple minutes.
Now, I see here on your service call tag for the dog treats and card, did you give the treats and the card to the owner?
Yeah, we knocked on the door. She answered,
Perfect.
so we gave her the card. She was very happy.
Perfect. Perfect. And how is this lawn, the Mox? Was that okay?
It wasn't too bad. It was a little long, but that's all right.
Well, it'll definitely look much better now. Let's make sure all this is filled out. You got time in, time out. Okay, and I see that your vehicle, the driver tail light's out. So I will make a QC for Bob, so that will be taken care of. Both crew members are there. Everything looks great.
This is the point when if you have any questions about your route or anything like that, feel free to talk to me or Bob. If one of us is unavailable, feel free to tell Ashley what your concern is so she can convey it to a management member and we can address it with you. At this point, you're also going to be giving her your gas card so she can sign it in and your GPS. It is very important when you hand in the GPS that you have both the GPS and the cord inside the bag, but do not wrap the cord around it. It kinks the cord a little bit. Thank you so much for your help, Ashley.
Have a great day.
You too. After you have turned in your route sheet, you want to take your clipboard that you still had in your hand and hang it up in one of these slots. At this point, you're going to have all your equipment still on your truck. You need to unload it all, change the blades on your mower, and then put it into the appropriate bays. You're then going to park the truck in the parking lot and clean out any trash you had in there. That includes water bottles, candy wrappers. You want it looking nice and clean each and every morning when you get in it. The last step is you're going to bring your keys back into Ashley or whichever office member is available and turn them into her. Now that you've finished your end of day routine, it's time to go home, relax, and put your feet up. You earned it. If you have any questions about anything, please feel free to talk to any of us here so we can get you the help you need. Thank you for joining me. This is Sierra, Office Manager here at Erbert Lawns, and we look forward to working with you.